how did you handle COVID? Because that will tell you everything you need to know about who you are, and
Yeah.
and the state of the world, how it works, the government, who are the bad guys, who are the good guys, who has integrity. It would reveal so much to really, if we could actually have that conversation sooner than 5 years down the road, and hopefully we don't leave it behind. It's one of the reasons I still talk about it, is because if you don't, it just floats away and everybody forgets about it.
And then we do it again.
And then we do it again. Right.
Yeah. I know, because I'm sure people respond to you in this way too. When people respond to me and are like, that was, blah, blah, blah years ago. Why are you still harping on about this? And it's because exactly as you say, I mean, it was really, really bad what happened, and we can never do that again. And people need to remember exactly how this went down. And were you one of the people who pressured or bullied or vilified or ostracized? I mean, I didn't know anything about this vaccine, and I was like, I knew enough to be like, I'm not scared of COVID. I'm not in danger. I'm not worried about getting a freaking cold. Like, I'm a healthy person. I'll be fine. And I also don't like being told what to do, and I don't want to do this mandate thing. I'm not just going to do it because the government tells me to, out of principle. Even if this vaccine maybe did work or did actually function as some version of a vaccine, I still just, on principle, I don't want to participate in that. And certainly I'm not going to bully other people. But a lot of people tried to bully and pressure me, and were like horrific to their neighbors, and their, people ostracized family members and refused to let them come over or, see their kids or whatever. And it was the way that people behaved was really kind of shocking and scary. And it's not obviously the first time something like that has happened in history, but you would hope that people would have learned from the times when people did do that and really, really, really bad things went down, but they don't. I mean, how does this make you feel about humanity?
It tells me that we're not capable of just ourselves. And like the AI conversation is at the forefront right now, and I'm like, guys, this isn't a good idea. I'm like, we're not going to do well with AI, guys. We got the internet, right? We got the internet 30 years ago in our houses, and the best we did with it was like,
porn addiction,
cat videos and porn, like, like that's what we did with it. We all have this thing in our hand, and we're not smarter for it, right? That's the point, is like, we have all of humanity wrapped up in this thing. I mean, the history of humanity is in our pocket. Can look up anything at any moment, and nobody's smarter for it. Everybody's actually dumber. I think that's the general consensus, is like, we're all kind of dumber now. So it didn't really do its job. And so moving into the AI world, or just watching how COVID was handled, it's like, we're not doing too hot. We've got to reassess how we're doing things, and how we're and get serious about who we are as people, because we're just down a crazy path. The fact that in the past 5 years, what is a woman has become part of the public conversation, and the definition of a man and woman, these basic foundational pieces of our society that help us understand who we are have been ripped to shreds, and we're just trying to hang on to even the basics now. So we're not in a good point right now, but I do think that, a silver lining that did come out of the last couple of years was that a lot of us found each other. I had certainly a naive and optimistic outlook on humanity pre-2020. I think that's what 2020 did to me, was it ripped it to shreds, because I had this idea that there was a baseline understanding of who we are, of what good and bad was, or what you believed in, and You know, that, like I was saying earlier, generally you don't want to believe in politicians or what you see on the, you know, on the news, on TV, because it all gets, you know, uh, fluffed up and lied about, and big pharma is corrupted. Like, these are general things I assumed a lot of people knew, and then throughout 2020, I'm just sitting there going, wait, a lot of people are falling for this like really fast, and they're committing to it, and especially when you see it in close relationships and friendships and family, where you really see the damage is done. It's disappointing and it's heartbreaking, but new relationships were made out of that time. You know, I've made friends with a lot of musicians that you know, that did speak up, that you know, took the chance to say something with their art, because I lost a lot of friends in entertainment, and they, you know, who instantly just shut the door on me. But then, you know, little by little, those of us that did speak out started finding each other, and then we're creating new art together, and we have this relationship that we wouldn't have had in the old world, you know. And that happened across the board, where all of a sudden I'm friends with so many doctors and so many teachers who spoke out, and we're all on this playing the same level that I thought the world was at. So we found each other, right? And that's a silver lining, I think, where I think it's gotten so crazy to the point now where people are kind of like, you know, even if you're on the outside of certain rabbit holes, or however you want to describe it, if you wake up every day and you go to work and you don't try not to think about things too seriously, you're just trying to pay the bills, feed your kids, you know, maybe you watch the news a little bit every night or something. If you're just the average person, I think even the average person, something in them knows like where we're at right now is off, and there's too much happening in the world to ignore it at this point, even if you are just an average person. So we'll see where we go, you know, from here. But it's kind of like getting, you know, a lot has been stripped away over the last 5 years specifically. So, you know, my you know, my realization was a few years into it. I was like, oh, the damage that's done is damage that we're going to have to repair for the rest of our life. You know, we have certain things have happened over the last 5 years that are going to affect the next generation and the generation after that. And that's just the way it is. It's going to be an ongoing thing to repair. And I feel like my responsibility as a father, and, you know, for my kids and for my future grandkids down the road, is to do my best to speak out on what's bad and try to put the good in there and fight for what's right and true.